G'day and welcome back to part 2 of the car game series. Originally this part was going to be a little bit more on world building, but after posting something on Reddit, a little preview of the game, of the character moving around and sort of reacting to the environment like this, I've decided to just make part 2 about that. So we'll just continue with the car for now by adding in the driver. Alright, let's get into it. So we're back in Godot, exactly where we left it at the drift cam setup. And what we need to do is obviously go to our car scene, and then we're going to need to put a driver inside that vehicle. So over in your models, create a new folder called player, and then we're going to download this, which is a driver model from Sketchfab. Thank the creator, and just hit download, and make sure you do it in FBX. It's what Mixamo needs. And that being said, next step is go over to Mixamo. You go upload character, and then we're just going to drag that zip file over into there, and we're just going to let that process. Cool. So once it's loaded, it looks good. Obviously the model already had bones in it, so we don't need to do any rigging or anything. We're going to look for driving. I'm pretty sure this is the one that we want to go find. So this is the one that I've used in my game. It's just called driving. I'm pretty sure that's the same one. So any changes you want to make there, just don't mess around with the trim too much. And the character arm space I think is alright like that, but if you obviously got a really big steering wheel or something, you can open that up and see how that goes. So then we're just going to download that. Keyframe reduction, you can do that if you want, but we're just not going to do that for now. We're going to download it raw. And once that's downloaded, we're just going to drag that straight over into Godot, driving1.fbx, over into player. And once that's imported, don't worry about those things. We're just going to instance it in here. Cool. So our dude is obviously not doing the animation that he's supposed to, but that's fine. Move him over a little bit into position, and you'll find that when you do the animation, the butt isn't where the seat is, so we're going to have the point of origin sort of below the car kind of thing. Probably below the car, but it doesn't matter because it's sort of a child of the car. So side here, we're just going to go editable children. As soon as we click on it, we're going to get that. And then here we go, we've got to figure this out too. Okay, so we've got to go to the advanced import settings, and then actually change that animation, this one here, to loop mode linear. Once we've done that, we can re-import. You can see the loop is highlighted. And once that's on, just so it starts every time the scene starts, we're going to hit that. So if we then run that now, you're going to see it's not great. Well, actually, we can't even see him from that angle. Let's maybe lift him up and move him over into the steering wheel. There he is. There's our guy. So maybe we move the camera back actually for now. The camera and the camera remote. I think we just need to move that. Yeah, we've just got to move that one. And then a camera. Let's have a look at that. Oh, that's back a little bit far. We'll increase the field of view. Is that about 100? It's probably a little bit overkill for now, but it'll do. Move that forward. So what we can do as well is we can split the perspectives, and then on this one we can actually make that the camera, so the changes we're making we'll be able to see that real time. And obviously where the yellow ends is the extents of the viewports, so make sure you don't go too far out of that. Now the seat's back here, so we should probably make this car a little bit wider and skinnier as well, but I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. We're just going to have him moving around. So driver, here we go. We're going to pull him back, pull him down, and as you'll notice, his legs do not line up with the car, and they poke through the bottom. So we're going to fix that with the deprecated IK nodes, which I don't... I've been told not to do, but I don't really care. I really like those nodes, and eventually they're going to get rid of them, but they haven't gotten rid of them yet, so I'm going to use them for now. So we're going to make this a little bit skinnier. We're going to try and get the proportions a little bit more true to life. Let's get rid of that debug thing. Maybe about there. We're gonna have to go get that steering wheel and undo those changes too. At some point too, because we can't have that scale all messed up. That's okay. So we might have had to actually do that to the car and not that. So this is model specific. I'm just going to fix up these proportions right now. I'll also put the link to this model in the description. But obviously if you don't want to have to go through this, maybe you just download a better model. But I really like this one. I like the sort of boxy look. So we've got the steering wheel in there as well, and we're also doing it local. So we've got to hit T to make sure that everything scales together. And let's go get rid of that steering wheel from here. I wasn't really looking for it when I grabbed all of those. Cool. So just gonna fix this up. You see the steering wheel doesn't move. Maybe like that. Maybe a little bit shorter. Cool. So I'm gonna move everything around just to sort of account for that. Get these proportions a little bit better, but it's already starting to look better. Cool. I'm just gonna cut forward a little bit. I think that's right. One thing you don't want to do is scale the collision shape. Yeah, so that's good that that's not scaled, because if you start to scale that disproportionately, you're going to start getting an error. So just make sure that you actually drag those nodes and you don't scale them. Just a little tip. Just have a little test to see what that's like now. Cool, so we're moving around. Our guy isn't doing anything. We're probably going to need to fix the camera angle up a little bit actually. We'll just do that. We'll do it live. Where is it? Camera remote. I'm going to put that back in the car. Thank you very much. See what that looks like. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's not bad. Maybe a little bit lower. Cool, I'm happy with that. And then we can start moving on to the IK nodes. Now we're going to need 2 for his feet, and we're going to need 2 for his hands. So the 2 for his hands, we're going to put those markers on the actual steering wheel, and the 2 we're just going to line up with the ground. So just going to create a new node 3D called markers. This could be a node just by itself if you wanted. Marker 3D, we're just going to line that one up with the feet. We're just going to do 1 at the moment. So go to the armature, we're going to do a IK node. Like I said, it's deprecated, so you probably should find an alternative, but they haven't gotten rid of it yet, so I'm going to keep using it because it's good. And I'm sure any replacement to it is going to essentially be the same thing anyway, but I digress. Marker. I'm going to go to marker 3D. Also going to rename that one. That was going to call left foot. And then when we turn that IK, left foot IK, we turn that on. Oh, well, actually, we haven't linked any bones up, so obviously it's not going to do anything. Now we're going to go from the, let's say, hip to the left foot. And then we turn that IK on. There we go. So we're starting to get some result. No, maybe not the hip. Let's go left upper leg. Left leg, where is it? Left up leg? Yeah, that's more like it. So now when we move this left foot marker around, we're going to move the foot around too. Let's just make sure that basis lines up too. Yep, so when you rotate your marker, it's also going to rotate when the bone gets down there. That's called the override tip basis, I think. Something like that. It's this one. So if you turn that off, then your rotation's not going to mean anything. So we're just going to roughly line this one up, and I'm going to make a duplicate of it and call it right foot marker. We're going to move that over to about there, duplicate this, go right up leg to right foot. Cool, going to turn that on. Okay, so we also have to change the target node. Go marker, right foot marker. Boom. And now we've got a little bit of what do you call it, IK going on. So to get it to actually, I'm just gonna rename this one real quick, right? Put IK. So to get it to hang to the left, you can do what's called marker. It's generally, oh, sorry, a magnet. It's generally the easiest way to do it. And so you just sort of play around with these values until you get something that you like. And obviously that really should be a debug marker. I don't know if there is one, but it's kind of this imaginary marker that you move around. I kind of like the way that the knee hangs out, so I'm not going to mess around with that one too much, as well as it's out of the way of the steering wheel, which is going to be a big plus. So next thing I'm going to do is actually set that up. So we're going to go find that steering wheel again. We're going to add a marker called left hand marker. And we're going to line that up with where we want on the steering wheel. And again, we're going to need to go set this IK up pretty early so we can see what the results look like. So IK, actually we're just going to duplicate this one. We'll change the target node to left hand marker, and we're going to go from the left shoulder, I think, down to the hand. Left hand. There it is. Cool. And if we play that back, obviously we're going to need to then go and left hand IK. We're going to have to go and rotate that thing. Oh my god, I've got to turn off all of this again so I don't get so confused. Now we can play around with this, so we can line that up with the steering wheel, and we can also move that into position. Cool, so a little bit of that. I'm not going to line it up too much because you basically get the point. You just kind of want to line it up. And now if we go to run that, you're going to notice nothing actually happens, and that's because what we see in the editor versus what actually happens in the game is a little bit of a different. So these IK nodes, just for argument's sake, I'll show you right now. These IK nodes need to be initiated. So we hold Alt, double click by the way. And we hold Alt and click. We just want to go .start. And now if we run it, I'm going to see, oh, we can't even see that hand line up. So we'll just do it to the right one real quick as well, just so we can get an actual result that we can see from this angle without having to move that thing around too much right now. Left hand IK, no, we want the, yeah, right hand IK. And the right hand IK goes from the right shoulder. Where is that? To the right hand. Cool, and we'll turn that on early. We also need to create another marker here. And then set that up here. So right hand marker. Bam, and now if we, right hand, okay, right hand marker, yeah, we're gonna move that, that's right. Right hand marker, we'll move it over to here. We're gonna make sure the transformation is reset before we mess around with it again, just so we don't go past like 360 or anything weird like that. I'll keep the numbers tight. So sure, that'll almost do. Something like that, right? And then obviously we're going to need to go add that one to the script. Right hand IK. And then we can Control Alt down to duplicate. And we double click to select. So once that's done, now if you run it, and we, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we've got to actually parent it to the wrong thing. So now that it's lined up though, that's great. We just need to move it into this because this is the thing that's actually moving. So steer wheel doesn't move it at all. So all we've got to do is plop that in there. And now steering wheel moves with the hands. So we can also see the feet are sort of hanging in there where they should. You can see the feet. I mean, obviously you could extend this to actually have the ankle move the foot when you were accelerating, or you could move it over to the brake when you were braking or something like that as well, with this exact same system. But what I'm going to show you is how to actually move the body around. So it's actually not that hard once you sort of picture how it works. So the first thing we're going to do is add the IK, skeleton IK. We're going to call it body move IK. We're going to put it at the top because you'll see why it actually needs to go first. So, and it does actually process them in order that you put them in there. So once we have body move in there, we're going to need to put a little point there where his body naturally rests. So that's going to be on, oh, we'll put it on the driver. It doesn't really matter. We'll put it in marker 3D. So we're going to call this body marker. Where is it? We're going to plop this up. We're going to move it over to where we think the middle of the shoulder bones is. So probably about there. Now when we go to body move IK, we're going to choose body marker. Now the root bone I set as the hips, but if you have a little bit of like too hectic glitchiness, change that from the hips to one of the bottom spine rungs. But I find that if you have it at hips, it moves the hip joint around enough to actually have an effect on the legs, and it actually looks kind of cool. So the tip bone, we're just going to go the shoulders. So where do we find that one? Spine 2, maybe neck. I generally don't like to go neck because I feel like it's a little bit too high. So we're going to go spine 2. Now if we hit play, we're going to see what that looks like. You see what I mean about it actually affects the legs, but if it's a little bit glitchy, just, you know, don't worry about it. Although we could do this and get the magnet in there a little bit. So there are options to compensate. And this is in dimensions of the car, which is really weird dimensions as well. So just don't worry about that. Now, this body marker, if we move that around, you see it's going to move the character around. So all we've got to really do is hook that up to the G-force. You see that little sort of leg movement that you get? It kind of rolls around. And so if you've got a texture on there, it's going to actually look really nice. You can imagine it. Picture it. So we're going to go hook that up to, first we're going to find where that point is. Yep, alright, so it's about there. Body marker. Now let's go into the code. So body marker is the only one we're moving, and we're going to need to link it to the G-force. So we'll go on physics process. Let's not mess that code up. Now body marker dot position. So what I should probably do here is actually reparent this to just a generic node 3D, because then the body marker, so hold on, we've got to make sure that this is set up right. Body move IK, yep, make sure. Okay, so the target node, we've just got to set that back up again. Obviously it's messing around. So body marker, yeah, probably gonna have to do it again. Body marker container, we'll just call this. All it's gonna do is contain the body marker. That's its one function. And you shouldn't have to do this, but I just don't like the errors. I want to appease the engine. Body marker dot position, because if we look at the position, what we need to do is reposition this body marker position to that position. So what we'll do is we'll copy this position, reset it, and then we'll apply that to the body marker. Bam, and then we're in position. And now when we offset left and right, we're doing it from zero. We're not doing it from that arbitrary point in space. And that just saves us through the editor of the pain of actually having the pain of actually having to save a variable in of that original point. So, and also if you wanted an extra exaggeration, you could move the body container around as well at a different rate. So we go body marker dot position dot, what are we going to want? We're going to want X and we're going to want Z. And now we look at the G-force. The G-force, what if we just go equals G-force dot, yeah, we'll go G-force dot X and G-force dot Z, why not? Look at that. GD script is really cool. Really like GD script. Alright, position, yeah, null instance, yeah, so I've got to redefine this just at the top. Let's have a look at that. Now, let's see what our G-forces are like. Do we need to move it around more? We might actually have to move it times 10 and we'll see what happens. Alright, something's going on here. Oh, you know what it is? We haven't initialized the IK. Now, that one's an easy one. Just body move. And put it at the top. I don't think this matters, honestly. It's just the position that it is in the node tree, the scene tree, whatever you call it. And now when we run, we should, yeah, there we go. Look at that. We're getting movement. It's wrong, but we're getting movement. That's what matters. Rem, 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 rem. That's pretty good. So obviously we're going to need to ease it to some degree. Yeah, we got to ease that. We got to ease it. So what we might do, divided by 3, we'll start with that. So this is the left and right. So we'll keep that kind of high. And then the Z, we're actually going to exaggerate a lot less. We'll see what that looks like. And also, I am sick of this 720p load up. Who even has 720? It's not even 720p, it's less than that. 1920 by 1080. Thank you very much. There we go, that's better. Alright, now I think it might actually be inverted as well, because if we brake, it's going backwards. So that's the ZG force. We invert that, yeah, there we go. So it's going backwards, and then when we stop, it goes forwards. So then if we go left, yeah, it looks like left and right's working. Yeah, it looks like it. Look at that. And then next thing we could do is put a spring arm on his head. Maybe we make the steering wheel move a little bit more as well. Steering input steer wheel, here it is, times 90. We'll change that to 120. A little bit more. What if we go like 180? Yeah, there we go, look at that. So it's like almost crossed over. Whoa, okay, we stop. That's pretty cool. I'm digging that. I'm digging that. So we'll lerp that. So the way that we easily lerp, we just chuck in that, bang equals lerp. Look at that, like a wizard. Okay, it didn't even work. We've got to chuck in the speed, the leader, delta times, we'll go 5. See what that looks like. It's like not even moving at all. Maybe we've just got to increase it. Just go delta times, what about 50? Let's see what that looks like. You know, I think the X actually might be inverted. What would happen? You turn right, yeah, you're gonna lean to the left. And if you turn right, you're not gonna lean to the right. So which way around is it? Maybe we've just got to negative this force as well. We'll see what that looks like. I mean, it should be immediately obvious. I say that, but it's not. So what if we just go the straight force, but then we lerp that. So we'll lerp it to 10. So it's trying to move like an entire meter. Yeah, that's definitely inverted now. So the way that I've done the what do you call it? The G-force gauge here is basically the exact same way I'm doing it in this example project. Except I've just made an interface for it. So all that is a little dot that moves around in exactly the same way that we're doing on the X and Z plane with this body marker. So all you'd have to do is just chuck a little dot on there and have it move around. And then that little progress bar, vertical progress bar to the left is the Y G-force, because like you can't really picture how that's going to interact in 3D space. So now that we've got that little bit of movement, we'll add the little spring on his head, just to see his head wobble a little bit. And this is one of the new features of Godot 4.4. The way that we do that, we go to the skeleton, and then we go spring arm 3D. No, not spring arm 3D. Spring bone simulator. That's the one. I'll always forget that. And then we're going to go exactly the same way we did before, but we're going to go from the neck up to, yeah, let's go the head end. And now if we start moving stuff around, it should actually, we should see a result, yeah, in the editor. So you see like that, except it's been exaggerated greatly. This is how like some people drive, you know? Yeah, and some people drive like this, yeah. Some people drive like this, yeah. So the bone's moving around. We're just going to stiffen that up a little bit. I don't recommend going too high with the stiffness because it might actually be like a drag related thing as well. And speaking of drag, we might just do that and have a look what that looks like. Boing, 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 boing. Yeah, there we go. So let's have a look at that. As we drive around, we're gonna get okay, so we've got world movement as well. That's one thing that we've got to fix here. So we're gonna smash that over to, I think, either node or bone. I can't remember which one works better. It just depends what effect you're going for. Some things are going to react differently to others, and obviously you could get way better results than I did. But this is the basic sort of fundamentals of it. All right, so this concludes. Look at that. This concludes part 2 of the series. Part 3, like I said, is going to be what part 2 was supposed to be, and that is to actually create levels. So the way that I'm doing it at the moment looks something like this, and it's just using a mixture of Terrain 3D and this plugin called, I think it's Simple Roads, I'm pretty sure, or a road generator, something like that. And it's great. So we'll do that. We'll set up a level. We'll start messing around with these physics, because the reason I haven't really messed around with the physics too much in this is because we need to add context to that physics. Because if we're just driving around on a flat plane, the physics that we're going to need from the car are going to be very different to an off-road track or whatever. So depending on what we do with the level, maybe we'll make an on-road track, maybe we'll make an off-road track. We'll then circle back and address the physics. So thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you subscribe. Every subscription, every like helps, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for watching.